So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you so much for having me today. I just wanted to start off by talking about the Greystone Program a little bit. We are located on the grounds of Friends Hospital. Friends is one of the oldest psychiatric hospitals in the country. We are in Philadelphia, and the Greystone Program started about 40 years ago when other places were closing down, and there were people that had mental health issues who needed a place where they could be cared for and get treatment and support when they didn't want to return home or whether home was not an option. Currently, we are a 27-bed facility. We have two buildings. One is our Greystone building, and that houses up to 12 adults. And the other one is our Hillside building, which houses up to 15 adults. We try to make it a very home-like atmosphere so people really do feel at home here. To get in our program, you just have to be over 21, have a mental health diagnosis, and then we look at some clinical paperwork and decide whether you'll be a good fit along with the family and along with the client. We are a voluntary program, and we offer community skills, we offer arts and crafts, we offer meal planning and help with activities of daily life. Right now, we have 25 people in our program. Our youngest is 48, and our oldest is just turned 87 last month. So we have quite the range. And there are people who have been diagnosed with depression, with an anxiety disorder, a bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. It's really a realm of diagnoses. So if anybody has someone who needs help, and needs a place to come and stay for a little while, please look at our program. And I do believe you have our information for that. So, and then if you have any questions, please feel free to ask either about the program or about what we're talking about today. Okay?
Sure.
So anxiety and depression are two of the things that we work with at Greystone, or as well as in some outpatient settings or at Friends Hospital as well. So anxiety is when you have this feeling of nervousness or unease. It's usually when you're thinking about something that's coming up. It could be an event, it could be a situation, it could be something that you generally don't have control over and you're unsure of how the outcome is going to go. It can be something real or it can just be something perceived. And it can be something that we think of that might be negative or stressful, but it also can be something positive. So it could be a wedding that you're planning, it could be the birth of a new baby, it could be a change in the family, or it could be something like a medical procedure or an appointment that you're really feeling uneasy about. When we experience anxiety, our brain is triggered into fight or flight, and that makes us go on high alert. It makes us feel aroused. We're looking for things that might be danger or activating our responses to react, or sometimes it activates our responses and we just shut down. As a result, people can feel nervous, they can feel restless, they can be tense, they can feel panic or an increased heartbeat or shortness of breath. And sometimes, like right now with our pandemic that's going on, this feeling of anxiety becomes chronic. And when it becomes chronic, it could be that we have so much going on that we just don't know what to do, or we're faced with a task and we don't know what needs to be done. When people experience this for a long amount of time, it can cause burnout, it can cause a physical illness, and it can also cause relationship problems. There is a difference, though, between stress and anxiety. So stress is when we have an event going on and we might feel uncomfortable when that event is going on, but we do well. And then that feeling goes away. And that is a normal stress reaction. However, where it kind of goes into the realm of being like a little bit abnormal is if the event goes on, we're feeling anxious about it, And after the event went well, you're still worrying about it. You're still thinking about it. You're finding it very difficult to control your worry. That's when you're experiencing anxiety. Anxiety becomes interfering when you can't live your life the way you want to because of this constant feeling of worry or these physical symptoms. And please, again, stop me if you have any questions while I'm talking about this. So when anxiety crosses over from being just a feeling that you experience to something that is a little bit more serious, there are 3 types of anxiety disorders. And the first one is called Generalized anxiety disorder. This is characterized by persistent and excessive worry, and it could be about a number of different things. People with this disorder can anticipate a disaster, can be overly concerned about money or health, family or work. Individuals with this find it really difficult to control their worry. We did have a woman in our program who her life changed greatly due to a death in the family. She became more of the person responsible for the family after this. And the excessive worry was just over everything, over money, over the health of others, over the household. And that's when it crossed over, when she just froze and couldn't do anything else. She would just kind of get stuck in her worry, and it would almost be like a cycle of worrying about one thing, problem solving for it, worrying about another thing, and then coming back to the original thing she was worried about. The other kind of anxiety disorder is obsessive-compulsive disorder. And this is with people who have recurring or unwanted thoughts or ideas that make them feel driven to do something. This could be the person who is laying in bed at night wondering if they locked the door, going downstairs to check that the door is locked, going back upstairs, going to bed, waking up, going, did I lock the door, walking back down, checking a few times. The third one is a panic disorder, and this causes like a panic attack. It's when you feel like a sudden sense of terror when there's no real danger. You can feel as though you're losing control. You can have a fast heartbeat. You can have somatic pains, which could be like a stomach pain or difficulty breathing. There might be some weakness or dizziness that you're feeling, sweating, feeling hot or cold, and generally just not feeling great at all. And this is when, again, there's nothing really there to be panicked about. And these attacks for people are very real to them, and they can happen at any time, anywhere, without warning. When people feel these panic attacks, again, where it kind of crosses over to something that isn't a problem to something that is when people start avoiding places that they were in when they felt like this. So if you're in the grocery store and you're having a panic attack because maybe the people around you aren't wearing the masks the right way, or they're down by their noses, and you can't control those things, that's real. That's a real situation. But if you're having this attack and people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's just that you can't control these thoughts, and you can't control your worry of what happens if that person does pull off their mask. Now you get so worried about it, you don't go to the grocery store anymore, or you don't go out to see friends anymore if you're worried about them not taking care of themselves or doing what they're supposed to. I noticed myself the other night, I went out to a restaurant to eat, and I've only been doing that a few times during this whole pandemic, but I started getting nervous when I saw how close the other tables were being seated next to me. And I had never experienced that before until that night. And it really almost made me like stop enjoying the meal and being like, all right, we have to leave because they're too close to us. So I do see some long lasting effects of this pandemic in our lives that we have now, where there's normal feelings of stress and anxiety that pass and that are of real things, real threats. But then when there's not, that's when you have to seek some help. The other thing I was just going to run in, does anybody have any questions about anxiety before I go on to depression, and then I was going to go on to the skills that we can use for them. All right. So the other thing that we treat a lot at Greystone is depression. And again, at Greystone, we have a range of people. We have people in their younger years. Again, my youngest is 48 right now, but I've had people as young as 26 since I've been here. And again, my older population, our oldest right now is 87. So some people come in and show signs of depression because they're really thinking about their mental health and the impact it's had on their life all these years, and how it may have really changed the way their family related to them, how they might have lost a job because of it. And they're really also just looking at end of life issues. But so depression is it's in our diagnostic and statistical manual as being diagnosed when you have 5 or more of these symptoms for at least 2 weeks. When you have a low mood for most of the day, especially in the morning, if you're feeling tired or you have a lack of energy, if you're feeling worthless or guilty, if you're having a hard time focusing, remembering details, making decisions, if you can't sleep or you're sleeping too much, if you have no interest or pleasure in activities where you did before, if you're having thoughts of suicide, or if you're feeling restless or slowed down, or a difference in weight. You might also feel cranky, or you might have aches or pains or overeat. When you're feeling these things, again, some of these things are normal to feel, especially right now. Absolutely normal. Again, where it becomes a problem is if you're having these symptoms for a long time, if you're having these symptoms consistently for more than 2 weeks. So again, the feelings that we might have with anxiety or depression right now are normal. We should honor those feelings, not feel that we're abnormal. Everyone's going through this, but it crosses a line when it goes too long and when it's impacting your day-to-day life. So always, always, always seek out advice from a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a licensed mental health professional. If you're feeling suicidal, or you know someone who's feeling suicidal or expressing thoughts of suicide, you don't waste time, you go and you get help right away. And also something that we've noticed a lot with our clients and how they end up with us at Greystone is they'll feel okay for a little while and stop taking medication. There's no shame in taking medication. Just as people have mental health disorders, like people have physical health disorders, you wouldn't feel shame in taking chemotherapy for cancer. So you shouldn't feel shame in taking a depression medication or an anti-anxiety medication or an antipsychotic medication, because it's the same. We all have things going on with our bodies, and it just helps us get through it. So I have been trained in dialectical behavioral therapy, which I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with it. It was started by Dr. Marsha Linehan. She's associated with the University of Washington. She herself went through the mental health system. She's in her 70s right now, but when she was younger, she spent time in a mental health hospital for a year and was classified as one of their hardest to treat patients, most resistant to treatment. And when she was experiencing help in the hospital, she didn't feel that it was conducive to what was going on with her. She thought that she could come up with something to help a wider range of people. So she went on, graduated from high school, went to college, got her doctorate, and started studying borderline personality disorder and people who were feeling suicidal. For a treatment with them, she took little bits and pieces from all the other treatments that were out there and came up with her own, came up with dialectical behavioral therapy. I love this because anyone can use these skills. You don't have to be borderline personality disorder. You can just be somebody living life who needs a little bit of extra help. So some of the things that she came up with, I'm going to go over because they're great coping skills for anxiety and depression. She was a big believer in just mindfulness and taking a deep breath. So when we're feeling anxious or depressed, we feel like we lose control. The one thing we always have control over is our breath. So part of a coping skill is using belly breathing, and that's where you inhale for a shorter amount of time than you exhale. So if you're going to inhale for a count of 3, you're exhaling for a count of 5. And you inhale through your nostrils and you exhale through your mouth. So if everybody would like to try that real quick, take a deep breath in and breathe in through your nose and count, and then breathe out through your mouth and make that count longer. And it's going to create a vacuum in your lungs to really get that oxygen in your lungs and help you slow down, help you focus, because you're taking your mind off of anything else that's going on and you're just focusing on your breath. You're focusing on breathing in and feeling it come into your body, feeling your lungs expand, your stomach expand, holding it, and then feeling it rush out. And hopefully you practice this, or your people practice this before they're in a situation where they need it, because you want to master this before you're in a situation where you have to put it to work. The other thing that works is really looking at interpersonal skills, thinking of what you can say no to and asking for help when you need it. I know this is definitely a struggle that I have, because as we all probably feel, that we have so much more going on right now. We're in situations that have never been presented before to us, and we're trying to figure it out. So really, this is the time to honor ourselves, to say no to things that we don't want to do or that we simply can't do, and asking for help for what we need. I think sometimes we make it bigger in our own heads of what it is and don't even realize that the person who's asked us about it is going to forget about it and not even remember it. It's definitely a bigger thing to us than it is to them. So I hope that would take away some guilt or anxiety if you have to say no and kind of move on and honor yourself. The other coping skill is called self-soothing. And that's where you look at your senses and you use them to kind of, again, be mindful and soothe yourself. So with your vision, you can go take a walk somewhere and just notice how pretty the surroundings are. The other night when we had all that snow, my anxiety was going up because I was thinking, how are we going to shovel this before I have to go to work? Or how is it going to get icy? When is it going to stop? They said we were only getting 6 inches. We have 8 inches outside. So to take a pause, I made some cocoa, made some cookies, and just stopped and watched the snow fall and just enjoyed it for what it was, knowing that it was going to be over eventually. Hearing, you could use your sense of hearing to listen to music that you like, or even just listen to what's going on around you. With touch, you can take a hot shower, take a hot bath, pet your animal, even go get a massage. With taste, eating a small treat, or drinking a tea or drinking coffee, something that you like. And then with smell, inhaling smells of either aromatherapy or scented lotions, whatever you find that comforts you. When I was working with younger people that really would struggle in school or would struggle when they were going to work, we would make bags of items that they could put in. Oh, bless you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
It's okay. We can make bags of items that we could use when we're in those situations. So if there was a picture that they liked, they put it in their bag. Sometimes they would put their little iPod in their bag. They would put lotion in. They might put a mini chocolate bar in. Anything to kind of keep them that they could go to when they were out. Another coping skill is to monitor your sleep. And there have definitely been days where you just kind of want to lay in bed and do nothing. But you have to energize and make sure that you're not getting too much sleep. But again, monitoring it to make sure you're using good sleep hygiene. Going to bed at a relatively same time, getting good hours of sleep, and then waking up and getting on with your day. Mindfulness is also a good coping skill. This is when you pay attention to one thing at one time. There are a lot of mindfulness activities that you can do. You can find them online. There's some guided mindfulness activities. And then there's just some meditations that you can do. There's really a lot of good sources online, and look for the ones that you like and the ones that you feel good about. The other coping skill is mastery, and really looking at the things that you accomplish and giving yourself credit for the things that you do that are going well. It could be the little things. It could be trying the new recipe and it going well. Trying the new recipe, it didn't go so well, so you figured out how to fix it. Looking at how you're mastering technology. I never did Zoom meetings, learned about them the past year, and I'm still learning about them and how to do them. Accomplishment of just even getting through the day, getting through a hard week, getting through a hard situation, and just, again, giving yourself credit for that. Another thing that helps is exercise. Even just going for a walk. A lot of us have become sedentary, being in our own homes and not going out as much, but just going for a walk for 15 minutes will help us reduce stress, get our blood flowing, and even clear our heads. Another thing that helps, and that I see help a lot at Greystone with our population, is engaging in an activity. So we have puzzles, the jigsaw puzzles there for people to do when they want to interact with each other. But we also have like word searches and Sudoku and reading, large print reading for people when they need to take a break from interacting with other people, but you still want to do an activity. The other thing to do is figure out a way to contribute. This could be a volunteering activity. It could be doing something nice for someone else. It could even just be reaching out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, sending them a text, sending a phone call, sending an email, and just reconnecting, telling someone you're thinking about them, checking in on how they're doing. And then the last coping skill that I had written down was planning, and just planning a fun activity to do. And whether it be a Zoom meeting, or there's some different apps out there right now that you can go on with your friends and do like different games and activities. And it's just another way to safely kind of get together while we wait for life to kind of go back to normal. So do you guys have anything that you do that helps you when you're feeling anxious or depressed that I haven't mentioned?
How do you know if it's situational or if it's a mental illness? So there's a difference between the, like we're all in the house now, we all have a little malaise, but how do you tell the difference and what makes it different?
So where it kind of crosses the line, that is a wonderful question. Where it crosses the line is when it impacts your life that you can't live your life the way you want to live it. If it's that your feelings or your behaviors are stopping you from eating, stopping you from grocery shopping, stopping you from doing your work that you're supposed to, if you have children, caring for them, it's when you really shut down, that's when it becomes a problem where you would need to immediately seek out help. But again, it's really hard right now because we have not been in this situation before. But I hope it's comforting to know that we're all in this together. And we will get through this. We have to have that hope that we will get through this. And just reach out and connect. I think connecting is so important right now. Even if it is just checking into somebody else and, both the people sharing their struggles, sharing what's going on, seeing if what somebody else is going through is normal to what you're going through. One thing that I usually tell some of the people that I'm working with when they're trying to leave the program or go home is, on a scale of 1 to 10, figure out what your number is for how distressed you are, with 1 being just a little bit and 10 being like the most ever. And whatever your number is, that's how many different things you should try. So if you're feeling at a 7, you need to try 7 different things. And usually you get so involved in trying these different things, your feelings change and you're on to the next. One of the things, I just did a sleep hygiene group with some young adults who also really have a hard time falling asleep. So that is very common, and that is going on right now throughout the age groups. And they are very visual. So the breathing didn't work for them. So what we did was we had them kind of lay back on their beds at night, picture their breath coming in from their feet, and picture your favorite color. So as you're taking a deep breath, you're illuminating your toes, and then you're feeling the weight of the blanket on your toes. You're noticing just how your toes feel. And as you take another breath, now the color has gone down to your heels, and you're picturing your feet, your favorite color, and then feeling the weight of your heel on the mattress and what that felt like. And I had them do that through every single body part up to their head. And that helps them because, again, they're deep breathing, but they're picturing something because they're more visual, and that helped relax them at night.
Well, that's very helpful because these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are making me gain weight.
But it's good protein.
Has anybody used a weighted blanket? I've been reading a lot about weighted blankets and sleeping with anxiety and sleep problems.
I have not.
My husband bought me one for Christmas because I was having such trouble sleeping. And I do feel that it does help a little bit, but the breathing helps even more.
Where do you get the weighted blanket?
I will ask and I will include it in my follow-up email. I don't know where he bought it. He bought it, I'm sure, online, and I'm just not sure about the specifics.
Thank you.
Sure.
My wife and I both have weighted blankets, and we got them at Boscov's. And it's nice for if you take a little nap sometimes. It just helps you just kind of go to sleep for a few minutes. It's a comforting feeling to wait, I believe.
And we will be including in the follow-up information, I will include Jennifer's contact information and also the link again, so that you can check out more information about the Greystone program. And I did want to also introduce somebody else that's on our call today. We have Karen. Is Karen?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I only have a small portion of everybody. Yes. So Karen is also part of the program at Friendshospital with the Greystone program. Karen, do you want to share a little bit about your role?
Well, I work in the business development office, and many of you I know on the call here. I see you in various meetings, so it's nice to see everybody, as well as some new faces. And yes, we're so pleased. Thank you, Jennifer, for doing this. That may give you some indication of how good Jennifer is. She's certainly done wonders for our Greystone program and really has made Greystone, as she had said, a family atmosphere for the residents that we have there. Just it's difficult to understand what Greystone is per se. So the easiest thing I try to say to people is it's very similar to a personal care or assisted living for folks that have a mental health challenge. And that's not dementia related. It's, as Jennifer said, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, things like that. So that's the easiest way to think about it. And please feel free to reach out to Jennifer. As Heather said, she's going to put her information out. I put my information in the chat. And then just in general, I always like to put myself out there to people. Sometimes it's difficult to navigate the mental health system. And if just in general, if you have a question or need some guidance or help navigating, please feel free to reach out to me as well. I've been around a long enough time that if I don't know the answer myself, I know who to ask. And I'm always happy to help people do that. And Heather, thank you for the opportunity to have Jennifer from Greystone talk to the group.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you. And Jennifer, I know that we were talking yesterday and you said that you have had somebody living at Friends Hospital for 30 years, 30
Yes.
plus years, and you have many people that have been living there for over 2 decades. So it is somewhere that you can really call home for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's nice. It's so unique. I have worked in residentials. This is probably like my 20th year working in different residential programs. And usually they're short in duration. So it's good and it's bad because you get to know these people, you get to know their families, and then they leave and sometimes come back. But what's really nice about Greystone is it's open-ended. So if people want to come just for a few months to kind of get themselves together, and we take people who are coming in from an inpatient psychiatric stay or someone from assisted living or a personal care home who needs like a little bit more support, or people coming from home who just had a change or, need a little bit extra psychiatric oversight. That's who we take in. And one of our ladies who's been there is celebrating her 39th year with us in May. And out of the 25 people that we have now, about 8 of them have been there over 20 years, which again is really, really nice because these are people who have mental health issues and always felt on the outside. They didn't feel connected with their family. They didn't feel connected with their community. And they come in and they feel connected. They have a family, a pseudo family with their peers. They have friendships, which is really nice to see. And they have a life, like this is their life. Me as a staff, I'm coming in to check in on them, but this is where they live. And it's really nice that they have a home, a place that they feel is home.
Is there a charge for it, Jennifer?
Yes, with our program, we are private pay. We don't take insurance at this time. So right now it's $235 a day for a shared room and $250 for a private room.
And you don't take insurance, huh?
We don't. We are part of the American Residential Treatment Association, which is called ARTA, and that's their website is ARTA USA, so it's ARTA USA.org. And that is made up of about 31 different residentials throughout the country. Some of them do take insurance. And again, too, please reach out to Karen or myself, and we can always give you some information about places that do take insurance.
Where are you located, Greystone?
We are located right off Roosevelt Boulevard in Philadelphia. So I'm not sure who's familiar with Friends Campus. Friends Campus is 100 acres. It's beautiful. And the Greystone program has 2 buildings on this campus. We have the Greystone building and then we have Hillside House.
So that website again is ARGA USA?
ARTA, it's A as in American, R as in Robert, T treatment, A American, and then USA.org. And that will show you different programs around our country. So not just in Pennsylvania. If there's anybody, Heather, I believe you said you were in Maryland. There's some programs in Maryland, in Virginia, all over the country.
Can you give us your phone number if I needed to reach out to you?
Absolutely. My phone number is 215-880-2154. And please feel free to call or text me at any time and I can try to help you out.
I don't text.
Well, then you can call me.
Okay.
So that'll work out too.
What a sweetheart. Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much for sharing information with us today, Jennifer. We really appreciate it that you came on as a guest speaker, and hopefully people will reach out to you if they have any inquiries. I want to give a little bit of time for elder care attorney Rob Slutsky and our audience today to see if anybody has any questions that they would like to direct to him. Do we have any questions for Elder Care Attorney Rob Slutsky?
Is that a real bridge behind you or just a painting?
It is neither. It is a background available on Zoom for you too.
How are you today, Rob?
Plugging along. How about you, Heather?
Doing well. Rob, would you like to share with us a case maybe that you're working on now and how you've been able to help a family? It's a very open-ended question, I know, but I'm thinking, I know you work with many families on a daily basis, and I think sometimes just hearing an example is always helpful for other people.
Well, I got a call from a gentleman who's sort of like the only functional one in his family. He's got a sister who is on Social Security disability and a brother who was on Social Security disability. He contacted me for some general planning advice for his brother. I learned that his brother had lost his supplemental security income several years ago and nobody ever pursued it. So I have contacted. Sorry.
But you have an appointment soon.
I have an appointment soon, apparently. And I will get off shortly. But what we did is I contacted my contact, a lovely person within the Social Security Administration who's always as helpful as she's allowed to be. And we reinitiated the Social Security app. We are having to fix a special needs trust that was drafted a number of years ago that is no longer a tool that can help them. And we are getting this nice gentleman Medicaid waiver services in the home that the brother was unaware of were available and will absolutely assist the disabled, but also caregiver sister in making sure that her brother is safe. So it's a multi-pronged attack, and probably the most important fact to get from the example I just gave is not what I'm doing for them. It's that the client called me for something completely unrelated. And when I started to investigate and ask the questions that we ask in general, when someone presents us with a fact situation, is I found there were so many things that could be done to help the family that they had no idea were available to them. So we're going to end up getting this guy. Right now, he has no income. His sister is supporting him. So we're going to get him, $800 or $900 a month. We're going to get him an aide to come in the home to give his sister a break. We're going to get home modifications. We're going to get all these tools. We're going to get Meals on Wheels because he's low income. So there's, literally thousands of dollars of monthly benefits that we're going to end up getting him that his brother had no idea were available. And we're going to fix the trust so that it doesn't become a problem for the future, which that part is quite a bit of work, but we're going to get it fixed. So that's something that we do. We deal with a lot of families where there's a family member that has a disability of one sort or another.
What a difference that will make to the family that you're assisting right now. I often hear about the same kind of outcome when you're able to help somebody with Medicaid planning, because a lot of times people don't know that they would qualify, or they think that, or they might be over the income limit, and they don't realize that if they hired an elder care attorney, they might be able to still qualify for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of the great things about this job. You can see a real tangible, it's not like certain litigations where at the end, no matter how good a job you do, everybody's unhappy. This is the type of situation. Our practice is very often very emotionally gratifying because oftentimes at the end of the day, we've made a real material difference in someone's life.
We had our wonderful presentation with Jennifer Kuter from Greystone Program, and we're really grateful that everybody could join us today.